Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Doug Dagnabbit, aka Modern Warzone. In today's video, I'm going to be going through what you need to know from the Season 4 patch notes. We've seen a lot of new changes to Warzone coming with Season 4. It finally seems like we're getting what we've been asking for over 8 months with the 50 HP increase and other things that are happening. Unfortunately, there were not really any movement changes, but I'll get to that later in the video. Today's video, I'm going to be trying to go through these patch notes and making it as short, simple, sweet, and easy to understand as possible for all of you who don't feel like reading through all of this, because there is a lot. So hope you stay tuned. If you enjoy it, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. That would help me out a lot. So today is Wednesday, June 14th, and we're going to dive straight into these patch notes. Run this town. Welcome to Vondel, our all new medium-sized map. I actually got to play Vondel earlier than everybody else by about a week. So make sure you check out the video. I'm going to point somewhere on your screen, and it should pop up. But we're going to be going through it. We're not really going to talk about much of the multiplayer changes because I'm more of a Warzone focused channel. The 3 new weapons coming are the Tempest Razorback Assault Rifle, which if you watched my gameplay, you would see me have gotten a W with it. The ISO 45 SMG and the Tonfa melee weapon, which, speaking of melee, there have been some melee nerfs that we'll be talking about later. And the introduction of DMZ's new forward operating base. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to cover DMZ based stuff. I'm not really a DMZ channel at the moment. I'm more so focused on Warzone, but I would not mind covering DMZ stuff if I knew there was an interest in it. The new operators are going to be Nikto. He's returning from Modern Warfare 2019. Everybody enjoyed Nikto. Then we have Ana Vega. We're not really going to read into their stories. And then if you choose to spend money on the microtransaction Black Cell, nobody's hating on you for it. It's not the worst deal in gaming. You would end up with this operator. So here's your first look at the Tempest Razorback. It reminded me of when I was playing with it, of like a TAR 21 or a Ram 7. The ISO 45 basically has the same iron sights as the ISO Hemlock does right now. It's just an SMG version of it. And then the Tonfa melee weapon, which kind of looks like a baton. In general, this is one of the things that confused me about the patch notes. It says shotguns. Pellets now use damage priority. If more than 4 pellets hit a target, the highest damage among those pellets hit pellets will be used. It means that if one of your pellets hits a headshot, all the pellets count as a headshot. Oh my god, if that's what that means, that's like a major buff. So here's an important change that people have been asking for. If you've been playing Warzone since Verdansk days, you already know that you get sick of getting the 3-tap melee where they punch you twice and then the third one's like it insta kills all your health. Well, they have nerfed that. The fist lunge range has been decreased, the gun butt lunge range has been decreased, and the gun butt damage has been decreased, but only in Warzone for the gun butt damage, so you'll still be able to melee people in multiplayer. Now let's get over to the weapon balancing. The changes to player health and the application of armor damage ultimately result in the time to kill feeling slower, more consistent, and more reactable at every engagement distance. That's awesome. It is important to note that most weapons will see their effectiveness altered as a result of the change to armor damage. For now, they will be retiring the term armor damage, and any future changes that are Warzone specific will be followed by Warzone only. So that's important to keep mind of. So moving forward in the patch notes, we will no longer see this armor damage thing. Battle rifles. I used the Cronin Squall in one of my early gameplays and it was still slapping. I do not know if it was nerfed or not yet. They wouldn't tell us. The full auto has seen its bullets to kill increased by 2. Maximum damage has been increased and the minimum damage has been added. The semi-auto has seen the bullets to kill increased by 1. The maximum damage decreased and the minimum damage increased. So, I mean, we really don't know until we get our hands on most of this stuff, but they at least tried to nerf it. Here is the interesting section of the weapon balancing, the shotguns. The Bryson 800 has seen its minimum damage decrease, its head multiplier increased, its neck multiplier increased, its upper torso multiplier increased. All of its multipliers have been increased, but its minimum damage has been decreased. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works with the other thing that we just read a second ago that says that it's going to count it's only going to count the shotgun pellet that hits the highest hitting damage zone. So if more than 4 pellets hit a target, the highest damage among those hit pellets will be used. So if you look at that in a vacuum, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But then if you compare it to this, where every single multiplier is increased for the neck and head, if all those pellets count as a neck or head shot, then the minimum damage might as well not have been decreased, is how it seems on paper. I don't know. We'll have to see how that feels in game. The Bryson 890, the minimum damage has also been decreased. And then it has also seen every single multiplier increased. The Expedite 12 has had its minimum damage added. It did not have one before. And its leg multipliers have been increased. And the mid damage has been decreased for the KV broadside, so it saw a bit of a nerf. It didn't get any of these multipliers like that. The Lockwood 300 has had its minimum damage decreased, and then it gets all the same multipliers as the other one, and then it gets the hip to ADS spread transition speed increased and becomes accurate faster after aiming down sights. Okay. The mid damage range is increased, mid damage decreased slightly. So overall, I would keep an eye on the shotguns for this season, especially if you plan on playing a lot of Vondel. While Vondel was very good in the vacuum of the closed playtest session that I had with other content creators and developers, it could become problematic on that map when it comes to rotating through buildings if people start camping and using shotguns. Because like they said with Vondel, the only place you'll ever find enemies is on the top or the bottom or in a staircase going to the top or the bottom. There is no second, third stories in these buildings that people can shoot out of windows. So it'll be much easier for them to hold these buildings down with proximity mines and claymores and then somebody sitting in the staircase with a shotgun. Something to keep your eye on. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it when I played early, but that could easily be a problem, especially if the wording of the individual pellets. If this pellet thing is what Matt33 in my chat thinks it is, sheesh, it could get crazy fast. The Fennec 45 has seen its bullets to kill decreased by 1, effectively buffing it. KV broadside with the 12 gauge Dragon's Breath. Close range damage has been increased slightly. I wish they'd give us damage numbers on this like they used to, but buffing Dragon's Breath at all definitely is a decision. Gameplay. So interestingly enough, this is the only mention that we got about movement-based changes, even though everybody was speculating on my video yesterday that the movement looked faster. Weapon quick raise is now always used when cutting your parachute or landing for improved responsiveness on landing. That was a terrible feeling when you landed and just couldn't do anything, especially in Resurgence modes. So I'm glad they changed that. I actually just saw a post as well that this new season is only 48 days. So typically seasons are 60. They've cut 12 days out of this season for some reason. I'm just talking to my chat right now, to the people who are in here. I would assume there's going to be an extra season. I don't think it's only going to be 5. This movement change to the parachuting is a W change we've been asking for, but we would like more. Everyone I know would like for us to be able to shoot while sliding, as well as just improve the speed of all animations across the board, reloading, mantling, everything, make everything just a little bit faster. But this is all we got for this one. They also adjusted the Bomb Squad perk. Bomb Squad now scales down explosive damage and caps the maximum damage you can receive, unless the damage was a direct impact from like a rocket or something. This stolen audio thing that they mentioned added ability for war tracks to play in 3D positions from vehicles in the world, so nothing about footstep audio. Even though when we asked in studio about audio, they said they are constantly working on it, and it's a big improvement should be coming soon, if I remember correctly. This is an interesting one in the UI that I don't think a lot of people on Twitter or the internet have noticed yet. Multiple attacker notifier quality of life improvement. When a player is downed while simultaneously under fire from multiple enemy players, a text notifier will appear near their crosshair, indicating the total number of recent attackers. So I think this will help a lot with people who think that they died to super bullets, which is a cause of poor network and latency and all that type of stuff, as well as people who think they died to cheaters when in reality they got shot by multiple different people at the same time. This will just help out in those situations, as well as it'll give you an ability to let your teammates know how many people were shooting at you when you died. I actually think that's a pretty cool quality of life improvement that I have not seen people asking for. The Assault of Vondel will be the first community event in which players can secure and restore the city by earning medals through completing challenges. Completing a community challenge will unlock the following. Taxi boat and trams. The taxi boat has like a buy station on it and is constantly rotating around Vondel. The reinforcement flare. The favorite supply box, which is going to include your 2 loadout weapons. It will not include your perks, but it'll include your 2 loadout weapons. That was called a personal supply box in Warzone 1. And the new melee weapon, the Tonfa, will be unlocked from the community event. On top of that, securing medals also contribute to your standard challenges, which can unlock several types of rewards, including weapon blueprints, and I do believe that I also saw universal weapon camos. The new map Vondel, developed by Beanox, offers 15 distinct points of interest and a dynamic blend of urban streets, canals, and expansive structures to explore. Basically feels like a smaller Verdansk, and I don't know if I'm crazy to say that, but it definitely does. Al Mazrah will be seeing an adjustment. The sandstorm in Al Mazrah has subsided, but now downtown in Al Mazrah City now has several sandbanks to climb upon, which offer new and creative ways to approach some of the city's prominent buildings. Specifically, expect a massive sand dune up the side of the TV tower, the embassy, and the high-rise building. The dunes also piled up across some roadways, including covering parts of the highway system, and nearly flooded entire small structures in the main downtown area. There's also some partial destruction that will offer new approaches to maneuvering in, within, and out of the city. Landscape, they added vibrancy to vegetation throughout the map. The new mode Lockdown is basically Hardpoint, but it basically feels like you're playing Plunder, with hardpoint objectives, but it's much more frenetic and fast-paced. You're always going to be in a gunfight if you want to be. And you get to start with your loadout, which is very good. So for the gameplay adjustments, they've adjusted the base player health pool has been increased to 150, up from 100. The regen delay has been increased to 7 seconds, up from 5, so it takes a bit longer for you to heal. And the changes actually do apply to everything, including Warzone ranked play and DMZ. Multiplayer is the only one not affected. Armor plates, quality of life, this is also important. Players will automatically pick up 9 armor plates, 3 in the active loadout slot and 2 full stacks in the backpack. Players will have to manually pick up armor plates beyond that threshold to create more stacks in their backpack. The armor box. Players will now receive a fixed number of 6 armor plates from armor boxes, regardless of how many they already have. And the munitions box. Players will now receive a fixed stack of weapon ammo from munition boxes, regardless of how much they already have. To clarify, the lethal and tactical equipment will still only refill to the maximum number the player can hold in their active loadout slots. So, to make this easier for you guys to understand, basically the armor box and the muni box just got a big quality of life update to where you no longer have to go into your inventory and drop all of your weapon ammo or all of your plates to ensure that you maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of those field upgrades. You no longer have to do that. You will get the same number of plates and ammo every time, regardless of what's in your inventory. W update. The armor plate update, though, players will automatically pick up 9 plates, 3 in the active slot, and 2 full stacks in the backpack. That's to be seen how players enjoy that, whether or not that bothers them or they like it. Personally, on paper, it sounds good to me. You're guaranteed to have about 9 plates without having to loot them yourself. That sounds like a good change to me. But yeah, here's your playlist for the upcoming weeks. The week of June 14th, we'll have the ranked play, Battle Royale trios, solos, and quads, and normal BR, the Vondel Resurgence. You have solo, duo, trios, and quads, and plunder quads. There will be no Ashika Island. But then the next week, we'll have Ashika quads and then solo, duo, trios, and quads for Vondel. Battle Royale will still just see solos and quads. And wow, man, they're really not giving Battle Royale duo players a chance at all. So there will be no duos yet again. Another huge feature coming to Warzone Season 4 that, I mean, I don't even think anybody ever thought we'd really get to this point. But there is a rejoin feature coming in beta. So here's everything you need to know about the rejoin feature. Players that experience a client crash on their device will be able to reconnect to their match within 4 minutes. So you have 4 minutes to get back in the game and try to reconnect. Players must have at least 1 squad member remaining alive. So if you end up disconnecting and you're the final one alive, well, that's tough shit. It's not going to work. And apparently it doesn't apply to solo playlists, so I'm not even sure if there will be a rejoin function in solo playlists. We'll have to see. There must be at least 5 squads remaining in the match for the rejoin function to work. Playlist updates to go live during a match in progress will prevent the players from using the rejoin feature. So when new seasons launch, they always do playlist updates, like multiple in like an hour. So if you run into these issues, Call of Duty team already knows about it. The last remaining teammate disconnecting may result in an undesirable spectator experience while the final teammate attempts to reconnect. Rejoining while still in the driver's seat of a vehicle will remove the player's hands. Can be resolved by switching weapons. Some other adjustments they've made is the kill cam has now been enabled in the Gulag, which is a W. Pre-match lobby audio. The proximity voice chat has been disabled in pre-match lobby. And the exfil sequence, players are now able to skip the exfil sequence animation. All W changes. Gameplay changes. Please note that the Vondel features outlined below will come to other maps and modes in later updates. So the TAV, there's basically a new vehicle that I talked about in yesterday's video that'll allow you to both drive on land and drive on water. It's like a fucking car boat. You can have up to 6 people in it, which is kind of crazy. It has mid-range armor. The dynamic fog system is though typically sunny, players will encounter a varying degree of fog as they play through matches on Vondel. Billboards found around the map will serve as a way for players to plan around the weather forecast, and the visual obfuscation caused by fog is reduced in Resurgence compared to DMC. Yes, it is. It's a big difference. The Vondel Resurgence High Stakes is a new public event. During this event, players will be promoted to capture any of several crates that are dropped from the sky. Capturing one of these will provide players with some very useful loot, such as a portable buy station, armor, and or muni boxes alongside some cash. In addition, a successful capture will grant players with double weapon and player XP for the duration of the match. Note this multiplier stacks with active XP tokens. So we used to basically abuse the XP token system to stack them to farm our weapons easy. That's how I got a lot of my YouTube views back in Warzone 1, was promoting people to do that. And it seems like they fixed it with this game. But now they're basically giving you a way to do it yourself in game. So if you can both have a double weapon XP token active and grab that crate and have a good game, I mean, we're talking crazy XP rates. So that's pretty cool. The The reinforcement flare is the new field upgrade. This field upgrade will deploy an eliminated squad member that is randomly selected. Like I said, if you watch my footage of the first ever win on Vondel, you will see that we used that to get the dub. And the favorite supply box is a rare supply box that arms player with their 2 favorite weapons. You're able to dictate your favorite weapons in the front end menu by navigating. You just select which loadout is your favorite, and it'll select which ones are your favorite. Loot updates for all maps and all modes. Loots found on the ground and via supply box have been updated to include the new Season 4 weapons and revised attachments for most weapons. We did talk to them while we were at Infinity Ward Studios playing this early and let them know that the ground loot would have to be changed, just like it had to be changed in back in the day with Caldera. Whenever they increase the health, you're going to have larger magazine weapon options all throughout the map, or else everything's going to feel terrible. So they are aware of that feedback. Armor box, the buy station price has been increased to 2,500. Muni box, same thing. The backpack inventory, while attempting to loot an item that a player already has in an active loadout slot, they will be presented with the option to stow the duplicate in their backpack. Marker smoke effect, the quality of life, differentiated the color of the smoke produced by various markers for easier at-a-glance legibility. Loadout drops are red, deployable buy stations are green, and smoke grenades are gray. I thought that's how it already was, but I could just be thinking that because of when I played early. Redeployed drone destruction damage. The explosion damage caused by a redeployed drone when it impacts the ground has been adjusted. Yeah, people were dying to like the redeployed drones falling down when they got shot. The minimum damage has been increased to 50, up from 10, and the maximum damage increased to 150, up from 50. So I guess they want more moments like that. The bounty contract will prioritize selecting a target that is on the ground and within close proximity of the player, which is such a huge W. How many times have you guys watching this grabbed a bounty and then watched them just be parachuting back in from the gulag miles away from you? That is the worst feeling. The most wanted target player will now carry a flag on the back of their operator for the duration of the contract to better help enemy players track their target. That is also a W, but will give you a way if it stands out like a capture the flag in old games. It's going to be really hard to hide behind a head glitch. Data heist public event players will now receive a circle peak reward of the upcoming circle when they complete the data heist public event. So basically like how recons were in Warzone 1. The gas circle finale behavior. The number of moving circles in the final phase of a match has been decreased to 2, down from 4. These circles move and collapse in size slower than before. And I was wondering why they do this, so we'll just read the excerpt. The pool is an interesting peak in the climax of combat. However, it is often decided the finale due to a lucky pool in a squad's favor. This change keeps the need to reposition, but enables a wider, slower rotation to take a more even fight. The time to capture the overtime flag has been increased to 4 seconds, up from 3 seconds. Vehicle fuel changes. The heavy chopper no longer catches fire when it runs out of fuel. Instead, it will now drop out of the air, surviving if close enough to the ground, which is kind of interesting. I guess that allows you to, like, if you have to park it, you can grab more gas. Gas cans now spawn with a fill percentage of 100%. I thought they already did that. Filling a vehicle now drains a portion of the total gas in the can. Instead of using the whole can, I guess you'll just use portions of the gas in the can. Oh, that's true. So they automatically spawn, but you had to use the whole thing. Okay, I get it. You can now siphon gas out of a vehicle and into your gas can, which is kind of cool, but I don't think anybody's going to ever use that. Gas damage. They reduced the gas damage to 6 while not wearing a gas mask, down from 9. During the first 4 circles, reduced gas damage while wearing gas mask to 5. The number of armor plates the players spawn in within the gulag has been decreased to 1, down from 2. Players will continue to spawn with a full 3 armor plates in Warzone ranked play. Gulag overtime, the time it takes to capture the domination. That we already read that. So here's a very interesting thing we got to learn about at Infinity Ward, and I'm glad that it's in the patch notes. Inactive strongholds have been renamed to abandoned supply caches. Active strongholds and abandoned supply caches are now enabled from the moment the match starts during infill. Active strongholds and abandoned supply caches now have floating POI indicators that can be seen from above them in the world space during infill. White supply boxes have been removed from active strongholds. They're trying to put the focus of strongholds on the loadout acquisition and the UAV benefits for owning the structure. Abandoned supply caches are intended to be fruitful loot locations worthy of a visit. So I'm assuming they want those to help people regain. Enemy NPC combatants have been removed from active strongholds. AI are no longer in normal strongholds. Rejoice. Rejoice. Players will now be prompted with the hold the line capture objective, so you'll have to hold the objective for a certain amount of time. And these strongholds will now be active when the game starts, so everybody will be diving in on them, trying to get their loadout as soon as the match starts, get that UAV as soon as the match starts. It's going to create a nice hot drop spot all around the map. The enemy NPC combatants have been removed. The bomb defuse objective has been removed from active strongholds. With strongholds activating at the start of each match, we are balancing the rewards to reflect the change. Completing an active stronghold will only reward the black site key upon first capture. The loadout is rewarded when the stronghold is captured and can only be acquired once per squad. Players are now able to recapture a stronghold that has been captured by another squad. So previously you weren't able to recapture it once the stronghold was captured by somebody. You could go into it and get your loadout afterwards, but they would have a UAV on you permanently, and you could not take it and earn that UAV for yourself. Now you can. Subsequent captures will only reward players with access to the custom loadout crate and the stronghold UAV effect. The UAV effect from completing a stronghold will now be shown to enemy players on the TAC map, and it will also show it for players on the black site map as well. The mission tracker widget on the UI while progressing through stronghold and black site completion has been removed for a cleaner interface. And the black sites, the UAV effect from completing a black site will now be shown to enemy players. The potency of enemy NPC combatants in black site has been reduced, so they basically nerfed the AI that they left there. Another amazing, interesting change is the dynamic resurgence, and I hope more people pay attention to this and realize what it means, because it's a very cool addition that I did not see anybody asking for. The resurgence countdown timer is now dynamic and will adapt based on the current number of players in your squad. To clarify, a solo player that queues into a quads playlist will play with the solo countdown timer rules, so you can effectively play whatever squad size you want to now in Resurgence and play against any other team size. You could solo into quads, duo into quads, trio into quads, solo into trios. You get it. You can play the game how you want to and not be penalized. You now will have a solo resurgence timer. So if you die, the game's not automatically over. You can drop back in. It just is a W change. A W change that I did not see anyone asking for. That is actually really, really cool. When a squad member pings an enemy that recently eliminated a friendly player, they will now observe an icon above the enemy to indicate that said player will reduce the resurgence countdown timer more than others. So you have to actively ping the person, but if you actively ping the person that somebody on your squad has died from and you kill them, your squad mate will come back way faster. The tracked squad indicator. Squads will receive a HUD warning similar to the one used for the interrogation mechanic when a squad member has been eliminated and the enemy squad is able to see the position of remaining squad members. The redeployment loadouts. Players will now encounter more variety in the loadouts that they redeploy with, as we've added submachine guns to the pool of weapons for the third circle onwards. The first circle, when you redeploy back in, you will have a handgun with no attachments. Second circle, you'll get a handgun with attachments. And third circle and beyond, you'll get an AR, a battle rifle, or submachine gun without attachments, and a handgun with attachments. So you'll come in with both third circle and beyond, and since they've done that, you'll now be able to deal with water combat no matter what. Interrogation. This feature, which allows the player to interrogate a down enemy player to reveal their squad position, has also now been enabled in Resurgence. I don't know why you would need to do that, considering if you kill the player, it'll ping, but it's there. Al Mazrah Plunder. Strongholds. Active strongholds has been disabled in this mode. Abandoned supply caches will now be enabled from the moment the match starts. Guys, we've been live for a minute just reading through these patch notes. Holy shit, this is a lot.